5-6 Miami Dolphins fans. We are officially inching our way back into this thing. What's going on? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network. How are we doing tonight? My assumption is that things are going pretty well as we ripped off our third straight win today, 34-15 over the New England Patriots, a team where every win is great, right? But a win over the Jets, the Bills, the Patriots, it feels like it should count for double. It always feels like a little bit more, a little bit extra. We are going to recap this game, all of the action from the day in just a second. Before we do, as always in these post-game recaps, I want to hear from you. Your thoughts, your takeaways, everything from the game that you've got on your mind, go ahead and drop them in the comments. But let's start by talking about this Miami Dolphins offense. Now that we have officially gone over 30 points in back-to-back weeks, because, man, what a second quarter. What a first half in general. I know the second half left a little bit more to be desired. We'll talk about that here in a second. But a 24-point second quarter. Man, that had some fireworks. After not punting last week, we go ahead, we punt on the first drive. We're like, all right, let's get this thing started up here. We did. The remainder of the first half, touchdown, field goal. Now, quite honestly, like I said, I talked about that second half. When you're up 24 at halftime, you kind of know that your second half offense is going to be, you're not going to be pressing the ball down the field. You're going to be trying to take some time off the clock. It's not going to be smooth. We saw Skylar come in. We saw how that ended up going. But like I said, I'm not necessarily worried about the way that this second half offense looked, especially it wasn't even all that bad really outside of what we saw from Skylar, from Jaylen Wright, the missed opportunity that led to, well, basically half of the Patriots' points. Like I said, not necessarily concerned about that. Our first touchdown came on, well, we'll talk about sustained drives again, an 8-play drive. Jonnu gets a 7-yard touchdown. Talk about continuing a hot streak. 9 receptions, 87 yards, team high 11 targets. Our second touchdown, once again, a 9-play drive. Achane gets a 9-yard touchdown reception, a screenplay that we've actually seen the Dolphins run that play a couple of times now. I think that's actually the second time Achane has scored on that play. And talk about perfect timing and perfect blocking on that play. If you saw the game, I don't know if you were like me, Tua threw it to Achane as soon as you could see that wall that was set up. I said, that's a touchdown. Yeah, that's almost a walk-in touchdown. Third touchdown, 10-play drive. I'm sensing another theme right here today. And not everything was alt-right sustained drives today. We actually had a little bit more going on downfield. But once again, we showed, you know what? Let's just sustain drives. We're going to score points. We did it again today. 10-play drive, Achane's second of the day. You couldn't have had an easier touchdown. Great play design. Tyreek actually starts that play, lined up in your backfield. He takes the D with him as he absolutely just goes left on the play. Then you've got Waddle and Odell Beckham Jr. lined up on the right side. They both sprint left as soon as the ball is snapped. What do you have there? You essentially have all the action going left. Achane leaks out right. Aaron Brewer goes from his center spot, leaks out right. Yeah, you're essentially catch and walk in for 6 at that point in time. And then you wrap up the scoring in the second quarter with a field goal. A drive where I'll say if Tua had mistakes today, it was probably his 2 questionable passes on that drive. The one you could tell he was just feeling himself, rolling left, trying to throw the ball back to the middle of the field where Jonnu Smith was. Quite honestly, that's usually a recipe for disaster. Luckily, the defender was actually backwards, hit him square in the middle of the back. Not a great throw. And then the second one, he tries to put in a ball basically to Waddle, where Waddle sat on the route. Tua thought he was going to keep going. Honestly, should have probably been picked off. But regardless, it wasn't. There was 2 bad throws, but we still get a field goal on the drive. And you take a 24-0 lead into halftime. We're all feeling pretty good at that point in time. But an absolutely huge part of that first half in the game in general, Jaylen Waddle. We wanted that breakout game. We got it. He had 6 catches for 118 yards in the first half. He finishes with 144 yards on 8 catches and a touchdown that he had in the third quarter, where Tua essentially got the ball. There's no such thing as pass rush on that play. He throws it to Waddle right away. Waddle takes care of business from there. I believe it was a 23-yard touchdown. But this was the game that we've asking for, waiting for from Jaylen Waddle. And we saw a little bit of everything from him today. He had the quick catch and run, like what we saw on the touchdown. He went up and was catching jump balls along the sideline. He had another catch over the middle where he had to jump up in traffic. He had an out route where he had to go low and catch the ball. That one was reviewed. Being the Dolphins, I thought they were going to take that away from us, but he got the catch going low on that one. He was in an absolute groove today. And it was one of those games where he was such a focal point and he was making all the plays when his number was called. The most important thing today was 0. How does a 0 look right there? No drops today. That was beautiful. It was one of those games where you think in order for us to score 30-some points, Tyreek's going to have a big play. One of those games where Tyreek needed to have a big day for this offense to look explosive. So that was a very welcome sign. We know Tyreek can do it, right? We've seen Jonnu Smith now be explosive, put up these games. Now Jaylen Waddle is doing it. Devon Achane can do it. Defensive coordinators, we've said it. They're going to have a tough time defending this Dolphins offense moving forward because we can beat you deep. We can beat you with explosive plays. Once again today, we saw a little bit of that, but more of those continued sustained drives as well. All right, but if there was one downfall to that Dolphins offense outside of Skylar Thompson, because, man, when Tua leaves this offense, it looks like it does every time Tua leaves. It just doesn't work. So the run game, 24 carries. Like I said, we didn't run 41 times like we did last time against the Patriots. Just 65 yards on those carries. That's under 3 yards per carry. It's 2.7 for you math majors out there. And quite honestly, if it wasn't for a couple of nice runs by Devon Achane, and there was one that stood out from Jalen Wright as well, where they actually ended up getting the bulk of their yards after first contact, it was just generally good plays by them. It would have been worse because the offensive line just simply was not creating any holes today, any lanes today. So it sort of takes me back to a question that I got for the preview video earlier this week. And it basically asked, do the issues in the run game, do they go beyond the absence of Alec Ingold, who was back today, who missed the previous 2 weeks? Like I said, he was back today and we struggled. So now that we have the luxury of hindsight, I'll say, yeah, the issues do go deeper than just Alec Ingold being out. But during the game, I was thinking a little bit, and maybe it came to mind this as an idea that when our run offense, when it was clicking, when it was absolutely the way, the driving force that this offense was going, Mike McDaniel knew going into that game that that's what we were going to have to rely on heavily. We were going to have to rely on the run game heavily in those games. So it was obviously going to be a huge focal point in game prep, in practice, everything leading up to the week. Maybe now that Tua Tagovailoa is back, and Mike McDaniel knows that we're going to throw the ball. We're going to be successful throwing the ball. We're going to be efficient throwing the ball. Maybe it's as simple as they're not spending as much time in practice, in preparation, in game planning, getting that run game going. That's going to have to be the thing that carries them. They know that we're going to be able to throw the ball. So I don't know. Like I said, just kind of a mid-game thought. We'll see if it ends up coming to fruition moving forward. But let me know your thoughts on this run game in the comments as well. Curious to see what you're seeing out there. All right, let's talk about this defense, because outside of one absolutely terrible breakdown in coverage on that 4th and long touchdown to Austin Hooper, our defense, I'll say, was in complete control today. 4 sacks. Chop Robinson gets 1.5. Ramsey finally gets home. He gets his. Sealer gets one on a beautiful move. He forces a fumble on his that actually set up the Jaylen Waddle touchdown. Ogba shared the sack with Chop Robinson as well. How about Tyrell Dodson? Comes in as Anthony Walker ends up getting hurt. We'll keep an eye on that. I haven't looked into it or heard anything since. Beautiful, athletic, one-handed diving interception on a play where, once again, Jalen Ramsey comes off the edge. And even though he didn't get the sack, he had the pressure on Drake May. We end up getting that interception. May ends up throwing for 222 yards on 37 attempts. So I'm going to live with that. We did much better against the run as well compared to what we did in week 5, where the Patriots had some nice numbers on the ground. Well, today, 86 yards on 21 carries. I'll live with that as well. The unit is looking good. I believe we are now top 10 overall run defense, pass defense. Never once in this game did I feel like the New England Patriots could sustain a drive and actually really earn a touchdown. Like I said, I know they got the one offensive touchdown today, but like I said, I'm chalking that up to more so some bad communication on just an absolutely desperate play from New England. But think back to last week. We didn't give up any touchdowns. Or no, I'm sorry, we did. 2 weeks ago, we didn't give up any touchdowns to the Rams. Last week, we gave up a little bit here and there with some bad tackling and a couple other plays. Couldn't cover the tight end against the Raiders. Well, once again today, we gave up the one touchdown, and it was like I said, just kind of a fluky, desperate touchdown. So I love where our defense is at. We obviously got some things that we can improve on. We're going to need to do it against the Packers, who I think just dismantled the 49ers. That was wrapping up when I started this recording. But once again, complete control of today's game. I want to talk about this rookie, though, real quick, because, man, did he look the part again today. We saw the quickness, the get off again today. Everything that we saw in college, like, man, if that translates into the NFL, this guy's going to be pretty good. We saw it today. He nearly had another sack fumble today as well, just before half, but initial on the field call, it was a sack, it was a fumble, it was Dolphins ball with plenty of chance to score. Review says Drake May's arm was just maybe slightly coming forward, so that one gets reversed. But on the sack that he shared with Emmanuel Ogbah, both of the guys just ended up dominating their side of the line of scrimmage. They end up killing a drive on a third down as well. So third down sacks are absolutely huge. Quite honestly, I thought maybe we would see a little bit of a delay in like the progress that Chop Robinson would show this year once Jalen Phillips ended up being put on IR and lost for the season. I thought offenses at that point can really just concentrate more on Chop because you didn't have that dominant, imposing guy on the other side like what we would have with Jalen Phillips. But Jesus, not only is Chop Robinson now getting all, I will say all, but relatively speaking, all the double teams and the chip blocks, he's winning. He's winning against them. He's making impact plays on a weekly basis. Imagine if Jalen Phillips was healthy, man. Whew. I would love this defense. He's now up to 3.5 sacks on the season, all of them coming over the last 4 weeks. Man, let's stay hot. Let's see more next week. Along in your comments and your thoughts from the game, I forgot to ask, give me your game ball winner as well, because mine, yeah, it's Tua. 29 of 40, 317 yards, 4 touchdowns, another zero interceptions, and another zero fumbles. We asked our boy to hang on to the ball, and really, I mean, he didn't even have many opportunities to even lose the ball today. But talk about being in complete control of an offense recently. Since returning from IR, he's got 11 touchdowns and just 1 interception. Efficient and productive. We'll call him that. Part of me wanted to go Jaylen Waddle here since we've been kind of waiting for that breakout. We definitely got it today, but I am not going to bypass a 4-touchdown performance against a division rival, who, by the way, he remains unbeaten against. Man, let's keep that streak going as long as we possibly can. Dolphins fans, this is the exact opportunity that we talked about and highlighted a few weeks ago. It's an opportunity to make your record 500 with a win on Thanksgiving night of Green Bay Packers. I'm not exactly sure of the video schedule with next week since it's a Thursday game. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to be at that game, but stay tuned as I will definitely get out at least one preview video leading up to that game. Fun one today, Dolphins fans, especially that first half. But yes, you should sleep well. Enjoy this one. I should have had my drink with me, so just cheers. Yeah, we'll get one of those later tonight during the Sunday night game. But enjoy the game, or enjoy the night, Miami Dolphins fans. And until next time, fins up.